discrimination against straight white men is illegal. Finally.
Mr. Reagan.
All right, before we start, I've got a great new sponsor for the show, Gold Co. If you want to diversify your portfolio, protect your savings, safeguard your retirement, try investing in gold with Gold Co. Go to MrReaganLikesGold.com or call 844-696-GOLD or click on the link in the description below. For decades, the dirty little secret in America has been that it's perfectly legal to discriminate against people just so long as they're straight or white or male. If you've hit the trifecta like me, if you're a straight white guy, congratulations, you have unlocked the reverse jackpot. Confetti will not fall from the ceiling, but HR might schedule you for a seminar on white privilege and take away your parking spot. In America today, companies openly announce that they will not hire straight white men. Universities have separate admission standards based on race, and certain government contracts are set aside for everyone except straight white men. And if we dare complain, we're mocked, we're called fragile, we're told that we're playing the victim. Well, the Supreme Court just changed all that. This is huge, and the left is silent. Mainstream media has barely covered this, and honestly, I don't think leftists on social media even know that it happened. This was a unanimous decision, 9-0. That's crazy. Even the leftists on the court were like, yeah, this is pretty messed up, bro. The courts ruled that discrimination is discrimination, no matter who you are. And the implications are massive. Title VII of the Civil Rights Act has always prohibited discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or nation of origin. It doesn't say discrimination against minorities. It says discrimination. That's it. But for decades, federal courts have been playing a twisted game of white guys don't count. If you were black or gay or female and you claimed discrimination, you just had to show basic evidence. But if you were straight, white, or male, you had to meet a special test. You had to prove background circumstances showing your employer was that unusual employer who discriminates against the majority. As if that never happens in DEI corporate America. But just think about that for one moment. The courts literally created two different legal standards, one for minorities, one for straight white men. That's not inclusion, that is exclusion. That is the definition of bigotry. On June 5th, 2025, in the case of Ames versus Ohio Department of Youth Services, the Supreme Court said, no more. McLean Ames worked for the Ohio Department of Youth Services since 2004. She had stellar reviews. She was a dedicated employee. She showed up, she did the job, and she did not cause any trouble. Basically the opposite of anyone who ends up in a viral video at a Waffle House. In 2019, she applied for a promotion. She did not get it. Instead, it went to a lesbian woman who hadn't even applied for the job. Then it got worse. Ames was demoted, her salary cut from $100,000 to $60,000, and her old position was given to a 25-year-old gay man. He may not have been qualified, but he was fabulous. And then, and this is crazy, her new gay supervisor told her that she should retire. She was 55. McLean Ames sued the company, but the lower courts threw out her case. Why? Because she couldn't prove those magical background circumstances. She couldn't prove her employer was unusual for discriminating against straight people. Basically, the court said, you might have been mistreated, but you're straight, so we really don't care. But here's where things get really interesting. I will explain how this case destroys the entire DEI industry and what Justice Clarence Thomas revealed about corporate America's obsession with discriminating against white people in one moment. First, I have to talk about my amazing sponsor. The news does not stop, does it? We have got a credit downgrade for the good old US of A nationwide debt problem that's spiraling out of control. And we're watching billionaires and central banks stockpile gold. In fact, billionaire investor Ray Dalio just made a $319 million bet on gold. And did I mention that gold has broken another record, climbing past $3,500 an ounce? I still remember when it was under $2,000. It wasn't that long ago. Look, it seems clear to me that now is the time to learn more about how gold and silver can help you. So reach out to my partners over at Gold Co. They're a great company that I trust, an award-winning organization. They've got over 7,000 5-star ratings, and they've helped me out tremendously. Visit MrReaganLikesGold.com to get their free 2025 $25 gold and silver kit, and you'll also learn about their unlimited bonus silver offer. It's a great way to get started. Go to MrReaganLikesGold.com or call 844-696-GOLD. As I said at the top of the show, the Supreme Court's decision was unanimous, 9-0. Even the liberal justices could not defend this double standard anymore. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson wrote, Congress left no room for courts to impose special requirements on majority group plaintiffs alone. I mean, let's think about that for one moment. The DEI cult has so obviously corrupted American culture that even Ketanji Brown Jackson looks at this and goes, yeah, that's fucked up.
You provide a definition for the word woman.
Can I provide a definition?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
This is how remarkably obvious this case was. Ketanji Brown Jackson cannot define what a woman is, but she still got this one right. But it was Clarence Thomas's concurring opinion that really exposed what's happening. Thomas cited a brief from America First Legal that stated, American employers have long been obsessed with diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives and affirmative action plans. Now, when Clarence Thomas uses the word obsessed, you know it's bad. This is not, I watched all of Yellowstone in a weekend obsessed. This is corporate HR departments building a shrine to the goddess of equity obsessed. Thomas wrote, courts with this rule have enshrined into Title VII's anti-discrimination law an explicitly race-based preference. White plaintiffs must prove the existence of background circumstances, while non-white plaintiffs need not do so. He called the rule judge-made and said it likely violates the Constitution itself, which is legal speak for, hey guys, you can't just make crap up. This could not have come at a better time. President Trump has issued executive orders dismantling federal DEI programs, and he's ordered the Justice Department to investigate private sector ones. This means that somewhere, right now, a diversity officer is frantically updating their LinkedIn profile to FUNemployed. Companies like Meta, Amazon, McDonald's, Ford, and Walmart are already abandoning their DEI policies. You can practically hear the woke consultants panicking. Wait, you mean we can't charge $10,000 for a Zoom call on unconscious bias anymore? America First Legal, founded by Trump advisor Stephen Miller, has filed dozens of reverse discrimination lawsuits, and now they have Supreme Court precedent on their side. Cue the sound of 1,000 HR departments simultaneously Googling how to bleach bit my email history. But here's what this reveals about the left's agenda. The NAACP, the National Women's Law Center, and other leftist groups all filed briefs against Ames. They wanted to keep this double standard. They were desperately trying to maintain the legal right to discriminate against straight people, against white people, against men. Slate magazine tried to justify it this way. They wrote, there has been an uptick in people from majority groups bringing discrimination suits, not in the pursuit of fairness, but in retaliation against efforts to correct imbalance. That sentence is like a 4-car pileup of leftist logic. They're saying, okay, yes, straight white people are being discriminated against, but hey, you shouldn't complain about it because it's a good cause. If white people complain, you know what? It's just retaliation. It's like a guy robs your house, and when you call the cops, he says, whoa, that is very aggressive of you. The Washington Post quoted the Society for Human Resource Management CEO, Johnny Taylor Jr., saying, if Ames wins, the flood of reverse discrimination claims will be like nothing we've ever seen. Straight white people everywhere could be filing. Yeah, that's how it works, man. If you're a bigoted a-hole, you should be facing a lawsuit. Incidentally, that guy's pronouns are total and prick. They know discrimination against straight white people is happening, and they're terrified that it might stop. They've spent decades building a world where some people are allowed to be victims and others are just supposed to shut up and take it. But now the walls are finally starting to crumble. This ruling affects 20 states and Washington, D.C., places where the background circumstance rule was applied. Millions of Americans who've been discriminated against can now fight back. It's like the end of Braveheart, but with less face paint and more legal briefs. Combined with Trump's executive orders, this creates a perfect storm against discriminatory DEI practices. HR departments can no longer automatically dismiss discrimination complaints from straight white employees. Companies will have to actually treat everyone equally, not just throw the word inclusion into every third sentence in the employee handbook like it's some kind of magical spell. No more separate hiring tracks based on race. No more promotion standards that favor certain groups. No more government contracts set aside based on skin color or sexuality. This is not just a policy shift. This is a paradigm collapse. The DEI industrial complex has been building its castle on sand, and the tide just rolled in. Seriously, though, the era where certain groups were considered capable of being discriminated against, that's over. Remember when black people used to claim that black people can't be racist? I mean, I'm sure they still say that. But here's the real question. Will anything actually change? The culture of hatred against straight white men runs deep. We're talking Mariana Trench levels of hate here. We have endured decades of propaganda in America painting straight white men as the source of every problem, from poverty to climate change to black violent crime against Asians. And yes, we were actually accused of causing that. Academia, media, corporate America, they are all invested deeply in their DEI ideology. It's a religion to them. They do not believe in justice. They believe in social justice. Many true believers will continue discriminating. They'll just be more careful about it. They'll whisper the DEI magic words instead of shouting them. Instead of posting "no white men need apply," they'll say things like, "We're prioritizing lived experience," or "We're seeking historically underrepresented perspectives," which we all know is corporate speak for anyone but Chad. They have spent so long convincing people that straight white men are the enemy that changing direction now would be like Starbucks saying, actually, we're over the whole coffee thing. But now we've got the law on our side, clearly on our side. The Supreme Court has ruled. A precedent is set. So if you've been passed over for a promotion, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the A-team.
Maybe you can hire the A-team.
Okay, seriously though, if you've been passed over for promotion based on your race or your sexuality, speak up. Actually, this has 100% happened to me, but this was too long ago to litigate, sadly. But if your company gave a job to somebody less qualified so that they could hit some kind of diversity target, document it, screenshot the internal emails, take notes, keep records. Every time you get sidelined because you're the wrong color or gender or sexual orientation, write it down. This is no longer just about a woman in Ohio. This is about you. This is about all of us. It's about restoring actual fairness to a system that has been rigged under the guise of social justice. Contact groups like America First Legal who are actively fighting these cases. Do not let them gaslight you anymore. Don't let them say, it's not really discrimination, or you're just upset because you're losing your privilege. You didn't lose privilege. You lost equality. The Supreme Court just confirmed what we have all known all along. Discrimination against you is illegal. Civil rights laws were never meant to create a hierarchy of protected groups. True equality means the same standards for everyone. It's not equality if it comes with a footnote that says terms and conditions apply, offer void for straight white males. As Justice Jackson put it, Title VII's disparate treatment provision draws no distinction between majority group plaintiffs and minority group plaintiffs. And you know what? That is exactly what we have been saying for decades. Guys, for the first time in America, equal protection under the law actually means equal protection under the law. It's amazing. The left wanted a world where discrimination was acceptable, where certain people could be targeted based on their race and sexuality, where diversity meant fewer straight white men. They never wanted real diversity. They wanted demographic revenge. But the Supreme Court just took Nancy Reagan's advice. They just said no. Well, that's it for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and share this video with somebody that you know who might need to hear it. Somebody in your family, somebody at your job, somebody who's been made to feel invisible because they check the wrong boxes. Send it to them, wake them up, let them know the world is healing. And remember, it's not that liberal friends are ignorant. It's just they know so much that is not so. Good night.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars. And it's been said if we lose that war, and in so doing lose this way of freedom of ours, history will record with the greatest astonishment that those who had the most to lose did the least to prevent its happening. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.